Hi, everyone. It's an honor to be here speaking with you all, talking in between at breaks. I'm all fired up. I just got done speaking with Rachel and Danielle, so I'm pretty pumped. I'm Amelia Goe. I am the manager of Food Entrepreneurship at Local First, Arizona. A lot of my work is in assisting food entrepreneurs, but the other half of my work is in food accessibility programs, food access programs. So just some of the things that we're doing over at LFA are choice food pantries, urban gardening, kids programming, food literacy programming, and we do all this in collaboration with United Food Bank, Waste Not Arizona, Green on Purpose, Cultural Coalition, Shanika Forte over at ABC Mobile, and the Bay Hive. But today, what I'm really going to be talking to you all about is a program near and dear to my heart called Feed Phoenix. I know that there's a lot of people in this room that this program is really, really important to, so let's get into it. So to talk a little bit about how Feed Phoenix was born, it is an initiative in collaboration with Local First in the city of Phoenix, utilizing CARES Act dollars. The whole purpose of it was to bring, healthful foods and meals to COVID-impacted families. As you can probably imagine, there's so many people who are impacted by COVID-19 the last couple of years, but these are also individuals who are facing, and I'll use a term that Angie brought to my attention, but nutrition insecurity prior to COVID, and then so many more individuals during the last couple of years were also brought into this. So how this program really works, we're going to kind of walk through it, but really it's as localized as we could possibly think of. So it is utilizing local farmers, food producers, growers, restaurants, caterers, all within Phoenix and just on the outskirts within Maricopa County. And they help us to provide food and meals straight to distribution centers in all districts all throughout the city of Phoenix. So to give you kind of like a current little snapshot overview, we are in our third installment of this program. Right now, actively, it's going to go through July of this year. So since August of 2020, here's some stats for you guys. We've been able to produce well over 7,000 CSA bags to various distribution centers all across Phoenix, as well as over 176,000 meals. Right now, we're actively delivering over 4,700 meals on a weekly basis to our distribution partners. You can see some of the holiday meals as well. We were really, really excited to be able to have this program over the holiday times. As you might all imagine, those of our neighbors and our people in our communities that might not have access to healthful foods definitely miss out oftentimes during the holidays where there's such a surplus at many other people's tables. So it was awesome that we were able to work with our partners and provide meals to them during the entire week of Christmas and Thanksgiving holidays. Again, the people that we partner with, we actually all get into it on this slide. I'm starting to think that this should have been a wheel. I know the wheel was a theme, and I actually have this in a wheel format, but I went with a linear look at it. But I think that this is, if you can imagine that this is circular on a weekly basis. But as you can see, it all kind of starts with us working with 24 different distribution centers across 37 different locations across the city. So a big proponent of this program was, and making sure that we aren't just, just feeding unsheltered individuals, but, a wide reach, a wide breadth of people. So we have, everywhere from Native American Connections and the families over there. We have, through Feed Phoenix Project, we're working with them to distribute meals to our unsheltered neighbors. We're also working with school-aged children, veterans, senior living facilities. So that's kind of as you can imagine, the different individuals that we're working with. So understanding their needs, right? feeding people within a senior living facility is going to look a lot different than feeding school-age children in their after-school programs. And so understanding their needs. Once we're able to get those, we then work to schedule our restaurant and caterer partners. We work with currently 40 different restaurants and caterers. So they've done an amazing job of adapting to make sure that they can provide and make culturally appropriate meals to all those individuals that they're distributing to. Then we are so grateful and lucky to work with our local farmers. We actively have 21 different agricultural businesses that we're sourcing produce from through the good work of Paris over at Green on Purpose. He aggregates for us because as you can imagine, a lot of our small farmers, they might be able to grow certain amounts of food, but then how do they move that directly to restaurant partners if they especially don't already have those connections made. And so it's really awesome that we get to have that liaison through Paris to be able to work with our restaurants, understand their needs for the meals that they're supplying, and then being able to order that not just from our larger farms locally, but also some of those smaller producers. So if somebody, if collectively for the week we're looking at maybe 200 pounds of carrots, we're not just going to one place and getting 200 carrots. We're making sure that we're divvying it up and then aggregating them from numerous different farmers and moving our money across the city. Then that produce gets delivered for free straight back to the restaurants and caterers. By for free, I mean we cover the costs through our budgeting. That helps also reduce that food cost for our restaurants and caterers so that they're able to make the meals and supply it with really beautiful, fresh, locally grown produce. They're making those meals, putting them in sustainable packaging. That was a big part and proponent that let's try limiting food waste, but also the receptacle waste. Instead of just filling landfills up with, non-compostable materials or not being able to recycle certain materials, that was something that we really wanted to focus on. So we work with a couple of different local distributors of to-go-wares to try and also make sure that that's as eco-friendly as possible. And then they deliver those meals straight to the distribution center partners, which empowers them to have those relationships directly with the distribution centers themselves, so that when they're making those meals for those school children and going there, they can get that direct feedback. They're then even empowered more to say, okay, outside of this program, how else can we work together? I love the work that you're doing, but how can I assist you outside of just the Feed Phoenix boundaries? So as you can imagine, again, this is a weekly program. We're constantly evolving. Just yesterday, I was finalizing the April schedule with all these different moving components. And we've learned a lot, but there's also still so much that we're trying to juggle and, optimize in something like this. And sustainability is a big one. So understanding what that food system is within Phoenix. This initiative has been a really good example and a working study as to what is functioning and what is not functioning. Again, as you can imagine, there's oftentimes ease in where we source our food from. Like I mentioned earlier about the carrots, you could go to a big farm that can manage that big order of 200 pounds of carrots, but then that little guy who might only have about 20 pounds that week for you, where does that food go if they can't move it? And making sure that we're equitably moving those funds and saying, okay, well, we'll take that on, and maybe we're only sourcing 100 pounds of carrots from this larger farm, and then through the little farmers, we're making sure that we're also utilizing their produce so that there isn't that food waste or that there isn't that stagnancy with the food production that they're having. Other dysfunctional things that we've run into is, as you can imagine, food justice doesn't just come with charitable giving, it comes with choice, food choice. A lot of the people that we are providing food to don't often get choice in the food options that they have. They're often just given a bag of something to eat and, we've done our job, but we haven't. There are, for example, one of our distribution centers, Mom's Pantry, works with a lot of families that need to put food in front of, their kids. How are you going to do that if CSA bag they got is just full of kohlrabi. Who here can be sustained off kohlrabi and radishes? So it's about working with them to understand, okay, what can easily get on the plate? What cultural foods make sense for these different distribution centers? And working with our farmers so that they also understand then what they need to grow for that next season so that they can move that product and that they can move that product to the families that need it the most. We wouldn't be here without our working partnerships. So again, this has been an amazing program to be able to create those bonds between distribution centers and restaurants on a weekly basis, on a daily basis. I am constantly hearing about a distribution center that said, I'll use the Feed Phoenix project that specifically feeds, again, our unsheltered neighbors, and they work with a multitude of different restaurant partners who give them choice. They'll make them a protein, a pasta, and a salad. So when they get there to distribute the food, again, it's not just here's tacos today, that's what you get. It's what do you want on your plate? What do you want to eat today? And that's going to help empower them to continue to make healthy choices when food is presented in front of them, or give them at least that pride that we all in this room, I think, get to have as well. And then advocating for a more resilient food system. Again, it wasn't just the individuals that we're providing meals to that faced a really hard time during COVID. Our farmers faced a hard time, loss of staff, loss of volunteers at our distribution centers. How can a program like this, and I'll let this next slide, it's my last slide, speak for itself. It's quotes from the individuals that are a part of this program from we have a restaurant owner here, or caterer, I should say. We have Darren from Tiger Mountain Foundation who provides some of our produce, as well as one of our distribution centers, Feed Phoenix Project. Just talking about what these additional funds were able to do for them in hiring additional staff. A lot of our distribution centers and food businesses lost anywhere from 12% to 100% of their staff over the COVID crisis. And this program has been able to at least give them some semblance of sustainability. But again, in what's that next look? What does that look like in July of 2022 when we're, pausing and seeing how else we can extend this program? So that's kind of our next steps, is how do we continue this? How do we make it more sustainable? And how do we take some of those dysfunctional aspects that we see in the food system, and how do we turn them into functional solutions? So if you have any of those, please come and find me so we can talk more about it. But that's it for this presentation. I don't think we have time for questions, but I'm going to bring up Raphael to talk about the food trucks that you guys will hopefully get to go and eat at after the breakout sessions.
Logistics, so I want to just share them with you all. Once we move to breakouts, please take all your stuff with you, and then you will go downstairs for the community food reception, which is in this part of the campus, down the stairs, and it's in the southeast plaza. But if those of you that parked in the northern lot, we are going to be able to walk through the field, not on the grass, but on the sidewalk, to get back to the parking lot after the reception. So that's what I need to share.
Yeah. Really excited for you all to enjoy the food later today. So 2 of the businesses, one of them is in the Feed Phoenix program, which is really exciting, and then the other business is actually a part of our community kitchen in South Phoenix that we just opened up this year. And so the first one is going to be Early Bird Vegan. Chef Crystal, who again is in the Feed Phoenix program, is going to be offering some different amazing vegan bites, lots of locally sourced ingredients, and so definitely check out what she has making. And then the other business is Chef William of Big Meats Dirty Dogs. And so he, again, is a food business entrepreneur that's working out of our South Phoenix kitchen. So he'll be providing some different all beef, like loaded, kind of more street style hot dog options.
Somebody said to pronounce it, dirty dog. Okay, I did my part. So we will have the mutton. It's the mobile unit on training and nutrition. So it's our food truck at partnership with Native American. To us, calling it a food truck is the F word. Because most of the time when we talk about the mutton, the food truck, and we talk about native food, what do people expect to be cooking in there? Yeah, well, sorry to disappoint you, but I'm going to disappoint you. We know that fry bread, and you're going to hear some of that in the presenters, is survival food, oppression food. So, so we don't have that going on in the mutton. What we have going on is Chef Tyrone Thompson from Gigi Farms. In fact, Tyrone was one of our Phoenix chefs, and we prepared over 100 meals at the Phoenix Indian Visitor Center. And we combined the Feed Phoenix program with our Train the Trainer, our T3 program, which teaches ancestral foods and the stories that are connected to the foods. Yesterday, Blue Adams provided another training and the role of food and entrepreneurship in restaurants. And you'll be hearing Blue today. She's here with us. Phenomenal food sovereignty practitioner, champion. So the mutton will be showcasing ancestral food. I'm not sure, I think we have fresh mutton that's going to be presented. In fact, I think there was a fresh kill just the night before. So all for a good reason. So, and so the other parts of this are foods that have been sourced locally. And so Chef Tyrone Thompson is one of the chefs. And then Maria Cano para Sana Sana food. And Sana Sana colita de rana, for those of you that know that, it's medicine, right? Healing. So they didn't want to give me the menu because they wanted to surprise you. So you're in for a special treat. I guarantee you that. 5 o'clock?
Yeah.
This way. Bring your ticket.
Yep. And now check your agendas for breakout rooms and I guess head to the room you're assigned to.
Thank you.